All right, what is going on, everybody? This is like the first podcast in a month. Shit's rough. All right, let's talk a little bit about. Let's welcome Scatron to the channel, to Sacrament. Your life is now going to suck a little bit more than it used to, because you're going to love the idea and then realize that this bunch of no-name assholes are building an MMO, and it's probably going to take like 10 years to build. It ain't going to take 10 years, but we're sultry. Stop it. Bacon is a junior level asshole. He's still got a lot to learn, but under Kempo's guidance, he'll either get kicked out of the company or I don't know, maybe learn. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So let's talk about. I still have server status in here, but server status is kind of irrelevant at this point. State of the game. So let's talk about state of the game or state of the company. Jail time. That could be actually. That's something I'll get hanging out with Kempo. That's not something Bacon's gonna get. Oh, let me. Whoops. Forget about this. All right, let me know how loud, if that's too loud, Kempo. State of the company. So Sacrament is continuing. We've currently got the DPS melee and DPS range class being built. According to what I understand from the programmers that I was talking to with last night. The world building, we've got, the zones are massive. Our world builders are somewhat inexperienced, so they're learning very slowly that they have to build the zones in sections. Kempo is going to make sure to beat it into their skull and teach them at a very early on point to kill the damn stubbornness, because it's only going to slow you down. But we've got a section that's almost ready, and I mean almost ready, like 2 or 3 people, couple hours of work type of situation where we can take what we have for the basic combat build, put it in that space, and showcase it to everybody and their mother. So we've got that, plus our world builders are actively building all of High Rise Basin. Now that said, I know we talked about High Rise Basin being the point where people are going to see the basic combat build happening. That's not the case. The junior world builders we have, the inexperienced guys, they've got talent, but they're stubborn because they're young. So their pace is somewhat slow. We are going to speed them up. We are going to pick it all up. We don't leave anybody behind. They've got the capability. We just need to get them on that playing field where they need to understand problem resolution and adaptation. So they're working on a High Rise Basin. Phase 1 alpha, High Rise Basin should be set to go. We get them into level building, level streaming, and things should be going smoothly from that point. So the zone that it'll actually take place in is going to be right next to the High Rise Basin. We have one of our programmers who has quite a bit of talent with world building as well, but doesn't want to focus on world building. And I don't knock him. From what I understand about world building, it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, Bacon's a level builder. And believe me, if I'm gonna talk shit, I'm gonna let you know, motherfucker. I talk shit to you in Discord all the time. Ain't nothing. There's nothing. Bacon knows. Everybody in the mother who knows me knows. There's nothing that I won't say here that I've never said to anybody else. There are things that I've said to other people that I won't say here, though. So I'm not trying to throw my guys under the bus. I'm trying to be as absolutely honest about elements that don't throw anybody under the bus. I mean, they're fucking junior. They're new to it. They're not exactly 15-year experienced veterans, 50-year experienced veterans. Well, what I mean, that's supposed to hurt somebody's feelings. If that hurts your feelings, don't get started in an industry where shit like that could hurt your feelings. Don't be a soft skin there, Bacon. No, so the location that that the basic combat build is going to happen is actually going to be a zone over, and it will be. It looks pretty good right now. Trees need to get adjusted, and honestly, that's about it, man. I mean, the trees look good for what we're trying to present in a basic combat build. The flow is good. FPS is exceptional. I'm running the 980 build, i7-440K, or sorry, the i7 4040. I don't remember what it was. 4470K, one of those. It's been a while since I looked at my system specs. Apologies. And I run that area that JDark built at about 52 FPS, so it's pretty good. And we don't have too many options. That's at like high resolution. That said, there's not an insane amount of fauna in the area. The area is specifically being built to showcase basic combat build, and we're not interested in showcasing like this high level of fauna right now. All of those things will come. They will be added to that area. Right now, that area is designed for a very specific purpose. Gives a little bit of life to the world that we're going to be showcasing in basic combat building, but it doesn't need to be this full, massive, gigantic, epic scale location. The basic combat build coding, once they get the melee DPS and the ranged caster down, they'll really have the coding for the other classes. There will be, the only differences are going to be the abilities and what the abilities do between the specific classes. For the basic combat build, these classes will be very specific. For initial phase 1 alpha, these classes will be very specific, only so that we can showcase people the combat system that we're going to utilize, the general combat system that we're going to utilize, not the openness of it that we talk about with the global abilities versus class abilities versus momentum abilities. Those are massive elements. Those aren't things that can be coded in 5 minutes. So what we want to be able to provide people is the showcase for the group interaction between having a group full of tanks, a group full of healers, a group full of DPS, versus having a more rounded group, a group where you've got one of each in there and you're actively working together, communicating to take down a group of enemies. So that's a state of the game right now. That said, we were hoping to be able to bring it to you today, and I can't, because issues internally, just shit that keeps popping up with small teams. We are on the last leg of it. I did find out that one of the programmers that was promoted to a lead position hasn't touched code for a month because he's been working on other elements, getting everybody else caught up, getting everybody else where to go and troubleshooting and whatnot. So, oh, good. Bacon finally decided to dropping music. All right, so we'll try that. Let me know, Mist, how that works. Who is running a GTX 330? How do you even... He ain't running no GTX 330. He ain't running no 330. Don't listen to that shit. Render is bullshitting you. Ain't no fucking GTX. Shut up. All right. So let's talk about something that Ferocity Unbound Studios is doing, because it is important for understanding the production plans for the company. We are taking a couple of the programmers off of the Sacrament project because we need to start creating a funding path, a funding tree. The last 2 years has been great. It's been nice. It's been awesome. But we're hitting too many walls. We need more people. We need more of everything. And we have tapped every fucking resource we can, and we're still continuing to tap them for people willing to work on a volunteer project, for an unfunded company, for profit share and promise of salary at a funding phase. But it's not enough. For a lot of these people, it's just not enough. So we need to push that. So what's going to happen is we have one game where all of the mechanics have been created, and now we're just working on fine-tuning, internal testing, stuff like that, debugging, setting up storyline, there's not really much storyline in this game, actually. Is there even? There's not much storyline to the two games I'm about to explain to you. It is a mobile PC app game, and it's meant to be simple, but it's meant to be a kind of a. So think, if I had to compare it, I would compare it to Civilization. Waving my wallet around. Civilization meets what was the Fallout Shelter game? You guys remember Fallout Shelter, where you built the underground bunkers and you could layer it how you wanted, and people had these crazy like labyrinth style setups. Except for it's not underground; it's all above ground. You're gonna play as the Ursa in the frozen tundra. For those of you that haven't read the lore, spoilers, no spoilers, I don't know. For those of you who haven't read some of the lore, or maybe it hasn't, this has been presented. A long time ago, the Ursa were being hunted, like ritually hunted, by 3 of the sentient races of Estermere for their furs. Thickest furs that there are, so they had a lot of excellent uses. But the Ursa are sentient species, so imagine it would be one nation, let's say Americans hunting down Southern Americans because their skin's thicker and you can make great hides out of it, okay? So that's going to be the setting for the game that we're going into debugging and internal testing on. That'll launch, that'll be quick. That's actually not the one that we pulled these guys from. That's a completely different project. Something I had 2 individuals working on for a couple months now. That we'll talk more about that when we get closer to that. The other one is going to be a game whose code name I can't say. I mean, I could say. I don't know if I should say. But so the code name for the game is not the name of the game. So for those that actually wind up finding out what the code name of the game is, which Kempo might throw out there, I don't know if he's gonna do it, is a different IP. But it flies underneath the Frosty Unbound Core Studios banner, as well as I wrote a book a couple years ago, year and a half ago, and it finally got finished being edited and set, and I was just going to publish that as my own thing. I've decided to publish that under the Ferocity Core Studios banner and send all proceeds over towards the Sacrament project. So we're working on methods to create funding, to generate funding for the project as a whole, but that does mean that we are going to be pulling a couple guys off of the project, hopefully adding more in as well, so that we're not just outright losing guys. But these guys actually specialize in app development, so they already know exactly how to build this game. They've seen all of the elements of it, and they are absolutely excited to build it. So we're moving over to that. Just with those guys, that's 3 people out of, I think we have 67 people on our team right now. If you know any world builders, any C++ programmers, send them our damn way. Hell, if you know C# programmers, I got stuff they can work on too. Send them over our damn way. Please send them over, especially experienced world builders. And I'm not talking about, don't send your 2D world builder buddies over talking about experience. Don't send no freaking 3D modelers over talking about being world builders. You're not a damn world builder. You're a 3D modeler, okay? And stop letting them call themselves level designers or world designers. You're not a designer. You're not designing the damn thing. You're building the damn thing. When you turn around and ask me every 5 seconds what the hell the landscape look like, you stop being a designer. I'm just saying, okay? That's the designer's job. All right. Anyway, yeah. And the Sacrament Tabletop RPG, I haven't forgot about that. I just haven't had much time to really sit down and do a little bit more internal testing. I wanted to have that in open testing right now, and I didn't get a chance to really sit down and do that. That's kind of something I'm working on my own time, whatnot. I've had a lot of stuff going on internally, externally, company, non-company, that's just kind of eating up every second of my time. And I got to play a little bit too. So. Man, bacon, these things are crazy anyway. All right, so let's talk about, we missed a few IRs. let's run through this real quick. It won't take forever, but let's run through this bad boy. So we're gonna go back over to Monk. I just realized Monk is lowercase on that. Why does that look so small? I don't know if that looks small on your screen, guys, but so the Monk, the idea behind the Monk was pretty simple. It was a bit of a mix between what some games currently utilize as a Monk versus what other games used to utilize as a Monk. And we had to find a kind of happy space, right? We had to do this with a few classes, like the Death Knight, the Berserker, the Monk, Warrior, Paladin. We had to create our own internal balance because of the way that our class system works, because of the way that the points work. No one class can have two primary classes. No one class can be so efficient at two classes that they can go out and solo everything and their mama, right? I mean, it'll still be a lot tougher than that, but we don't want a tank to be able to sit there all day as a paladin and self-heal during groups, and then you just fill a group up with 1 CC and all DPS, and then all of a sudden you've got this highly unbalanced, uncoordinated situation going on. And we want to try to create a core balance from the beginning. So we decided that every class is going to have a single focus primary class. So Monk is one of them things, right? A lot of games you see a Monk as a DPS tank. Sometimes, depending on the game, also a healer. Blizzard likes to turn their Monks into healers. For those who play D3, well, for those who play D3, pretty much every class could eventually become a type of healer, right? Just like D2, life on hit, stuff like that. Monks had it ingrained in their skills where they had a lot of healing, self-healing going on. I think maybe group, not group healing. I think it was just all self-healing. And there are several games out there with monks that kind of do that, right? That Buddhist mantra type thing where, oh, well, it makes sense that a monk can also heal themselves internally, their soul kind of thing. And we don't disagree with that. It just doesn't work with our system. So we had to pick one element for a primary class, and then we had to walk with it. So when you look it up top here, where it says tank DPS healing, understand that you're not seeing the metrics up there. The monk is definitely a tank. First and foremost, they're never going to compete with a DPS, and they are never going to compete with a healer. They provide now they're leather wearers. They can jump up the chainmail, but they're leather wearers. They're avoidance type tanks, which means their armor's lighter. They don't have as much mitigation as, say, a paladin, right? And the rule with tanking, with building a tank, is that when you build a tank, you have to first consider a pure mitigation tank. All right, we're not going to call that damage absorption because that's something different. A raw mitigation tank is your most basic kind of tank. You build as much armor as you can, and then he's dropped that ceiling, right? A lot of people don't really understand how this works. They've dropped that ceiling for the highest that hit can go down so much that there's no real spike damage. There's no threat to massive amounts of damage coming through their armor, except for tank busters, which is a completely different mechanic that you create to mitigate mitigation tanks dominating everything. One of many mechanics that you create. So the monk doesn't have that high amount of mitigation, but you can't just throw the monk out there and say, all right, here's lighter armor, less mitigation, less tankiness, and have fun. Because that's unbalanced. Just in and of itself is unbalanced. So you have to create a way for that to come around, for that to kind of circumvent. So we created the avoidance element of the monk, right? But even avoidance isn't wholly as efficient as mitigation, because you can never really get avoidance up to 100%. Once you have avoidance up to 100%, that one character can tank anything, as WoW showed us a couple years ago. I don't remember which expansion it was, but their avoidance tank, I think it was something like you can get avoidance up to 120%. All right, and that made it so the raid bosses were 100% avoidance. If for some reason, I think it was like 99.98 was the numbers, but the one time I remember somebody complaining about it. The one time a player got hit, the hit absolutely killed him, because the bosses hit hard, right? Raid bosses, they ain't no joke. They hit hard as hell. and the guy got hit, wiped the raid, everything was gone because they didn't really have a contingency for, well, what about that other 0.02%, which is going to happen. You're talking about 1,000 swings per fight, right? Do the math. It's going to fucking happen. So, okay, so you guys are talking about something else. So with the monk, it was avoidance, but avoidance, we're not allowing avoidance to get so high that, just like mitigation, we're not allowing mitigation to get so high that hits don't matter, right? That you can just tank everything to the face and blah, blah, blah. So with the monk, they've got their mitigation, they've got a little bit of avoidance, and they got a small amount of healing, right? Just a small amount to assist the healers. It's not much, right? It's not much in the way of healing, but it's a small amount. So let's talk about the monk's abilities. Mitigation, I'm gonna have to pull this up over here because that is too small for me to read. I don't know why that is so small. Alright, so Mantis Claw. Yeah, I couldn't even read that. Mantis Claw. The monk parries all frontal attacks for X seconds, increasing threat by X for each parried attack. So it's an important thing to note here. Each of our abilities has up to 3 elements on it. And for each, we have a metric already laid out. All that's required is testing and fine-tuning. But we have a metric with those values already laid out. Like, we can literally just start going in and plugging in all these values for X. We just haven't. I think we're going to wait until all the classes are released to do that. So, threat generation, single target. There's a value for that. Tier 1. It's all based on how much ER the character has. Alright, so you get ER naturally by the class you select. You get ER through buffs. You get ER through weapon increase. And you can lose ER through debuffs. So let's say the monk, let's say it was just a threat ability. Now for each, I'm losing track of myself. Each ability, let's say DPS, a tier 1 ability does 100 points of damage. All right, let's just say. And when I add a second effect to that, let's say I change the ability. The ability does direct damage as well as has a damage over time effect, right? So what'll happen is both of those values will be decreased by 40%. So you'll wind up with a total of 120% total DPS efficiency in the overall ability, but you lose in the individual elements. Now, for classes, for every class, if all 3 effects are of the same role, you lose a lot per effect, but you gain overall. So the way it works out is you lose 40% each time, right? So I've got an attack, a direct damage attack, a damage over time attack, and then a delayed element attack, right? So when the damage over time wears off, then it also explodes for X amount of damage. So the first 2 and the third one, they all 3 get reduced by 40% twice. Now that's not 40% added up, okay? I don't want anybody getting confused on it. It's not a total of 80%. It's 40% twice. So you get 40%, you're down to 60% out the gate, and then you take that. And you are down to 36% total efficiency per item, which brings you up to about 110%. So you lose a little bit by adding that third element, right? From just having 2 elements on it. But you can, when we get to spell crafting, when we start talking about how spell crafting will work in the future, you can create some pretty unique elements, understanding the loss, but you might want it for the game. So if you've got a primary and you've got your secondary is enough that you think that you can add elements to it, right? Let's say your primary DPS, secondary CC, right? Let's say your CC is 8, your DPS is 12. So you can hit somebody really hard and you can kind of debuff them. But let's say when you hit them with a specific ability, it does damage over time, or let's call it a direct damage, and it decreases their resistance to bleed damage for X seconds, right? So you've got creative ways that you can go about building the abilities. So you do lose efficiency on each element of the attack the more elements you create. Why is that important to what I'm about to talk about? Because when it comes to tanking abilities, there is one element where that doesn't apply. When it comes to threat generation is important. The idea with the tank class in our game is we want the tanks to be active. We don't want them holding block. We don't want them holding avoidance. We want them to actively engage in avoiding or blocking or parrying damage. We want them to be engaged, because right now there's not really any engagement in MMOs right now. You build your stats up so far and the stats work for you. You don't work the field just kind of naturally falls into place based on your stats, and then based a little bit on RNG. Well, sometimes a lot, depending on the target. So with this, we were looking at it, and in order to, so the threat is built on a 10% increase efficiency of any amount of DPS or healing that can be done. All right. So DPS and healing are on the same page. We wanted threat to be a little higher, so that threat can be had, because tanks aren't just dealing threat, right? Tanks are doing a lot of other things, and some of these things are also generating their own type of threat, but nothing is as raw threat. So what happens is when we have a tank actively engaged in their job, let's say a big ass series of hits is coming in, and your paladin needs to hide behind that shield, because these hits are tank buster type hits and they deal a lot of damage, but it's a group scenario, so it's not going to kill you if you can block all of these hits. So the paladin pulls that shield up and holds it for 2 or 3 seconds. All right. The paladin is not generating threat at that point because he's busy blocking. So what happens? Are all the DPS and healers going to stop what they're doing? They can't do that. You also can't have them stop ahead of time so the paladin can generate a shitload of threat in case those scenarios happen. We didn't want to see stuff like that happen either. So instead what we did was we built a system where the paladin doesn't suffer, or the tank doesn't suffer by doing the job. They're encouraged to specifically do their job. And one of the few classes where this is the case. So anytime a tank actively performs a tank role, block, avoidance, the Mantis Claw, Monkey Roll rolls them to the flank. So whatever way that you're going when you do it, right? It's going to be the same as your point and shoot. You look at the location, hit it, and your character is going to roll to that position and force your camera to view in on the target, right? So when you do things like that as a tank, you're also generating threat, as long as it was effective. Just doing a roll doesn't do anything for you. And I didn't actually read. Oh my goodness. So Monkey Roll and Crane Claw, I did not go in and fix the phrases. Yeah, we gotta update these anyway. All right, so when Mantis Claw is used, is why you see this on here. The monk parries all frontal attacks for X seconds. Pretty powerful, but this is a momentum ability. We want it to be a little powerful. And it's only going to be a few seconds, all right? It's like 3 or 4 seconds. And they will increase their threat on that target for each parried attack. So if the monk's got a target or 3 targets, 3 is going to be stretching. It's pretty fucking stupid, all right? But let's say the monk's got 3 targets, and he's got his parry going, and he parries. Let's say all 3 of them do some flurry, right, at the same time. So they get 10 attacks off each. He just generated 30 points of threat, raw threat, in that short ass amount of time. The idea is not just for tanks to do their job, but also to use these abilities a little bit more intelligently. When they know specific things are coming up, when they see a mob about to flurry a series of 4 or 5 attacks in a few seconds, right? Because we want interactive combat, so we're giving you tells, we're giving you audio cues as well, visual audio cues. The tank's gonna want to use these types of abilities because it's gonna generate more threat doing their job, especially in that scenario, then DPS could generate the entire way. So it gives them an edge up. Now, we're not trying to make it easy for tanks. We just want to reward them for doing their job. So that's a lot there. I apologize. Later render. Crane Claw. So this is deals X damage to target and generates threat. Now this is not a tank, so both of those effects will be reduced by 40%. Mind over matter, a self-heal that heals the monk for X over X seconds. That is, the base amount is created. So that's the thing. That's what, I knew there was something. So right now, in our metric spreadsheet, no, it's got the core number. Never mind, I'm lying to you. We just have to go through and do the math based on the class ER, base class ER. So, but you'll see with the numbers, it's not a vast difference, but we're not creating a system here where vast differences are something you're going to see a lot. Small differences are going to be gigantic. We're not planning on having 10k DPS coming out the gate. It's not the numbers we're working with. Your non-momentum abilities, sort of 50-50. This is a kind of a toggle like the warrior has. For those who have seen the warrior's momentum buff, it allows them to give up a little bit of their offense for some defense, or give up a little bit of their defense for some offense. Typically, monks are going to use this the other way. I mean, if they're soloing, if they're out there doing some solo stuff, they give up some defense for some offense because it'll speed it up a little bit. Switched, it'll make it about a 10-10 class, right? 10 defense, 10 offense. I believe they're 10. Oh, no, because they're not a 12-8. So switched, it'll bring, let me see where the monks sit real quick. Class roll budgets. Yeah, so the monk is 12 tank, 5 DPS, 3 healing. So switched, it'll bring them down 2 points on their tanking and up 2 points on their DPS. So it's not a massive increase, but like we said, it's the small things that make a difference. It'll speed up soloing a little bit. If they decide that they want to go the DPS route, which would probably be foolish for them, but subclasses, not right out the gate. No, not right out the gate. We are creating we've discussed the creation of a system, but it's expansion content, and this will be like major expansion content. No one does Tai Chi. Kempo actually does Tai Chi, naked, specifically only with his penis. He actually doesn't use his arms or legs. The system that we will release as an expansion element will have, I don't want to call them hidden subclasses. We'll make them known. We're just not going to give you the exact specifics on how to, what kind of point scaling you're going to need to get to in order to find that sweet spot. But you will get bonuses for sitting in those sweet spots. But that hasn't been fully designed. So, all right. So that's wait, what we got? Hold on. Oh, and Leaping Punch. So Leaping Punch is a gap closer. We want a lot of our melee to have gap closers, especially the tanks. Gap closers are pretty important, specifically for the tanks, because when you get that guy that runs in and pisses some shit off, and he's a DPS or he's a healer, and he's being an annoying little dick, but you don't want the group or the raid to wipe. That gap closer is really nice to have sometimes. So it's an important ability for us to be able to provide for players, and used correctly could wind up getting people out of some really bad melee AoEs that even tanks might want to get out of. Find another mob to target, use a gap closer on that, wait for it to go off, and then switch back over to the main target, double down on the gap closer. So some melee classes, their gap closer is a momentum ability because it comes with a lot of damage or bonuses to it. With the monk, I mean, the gap closers require a 15-meter distance. It'll probably get reduced down to something like 8 meters or something. But it requires a specific distance, so it's not like it can be spammed. If you really wanted to gap close, back up, gap close, back up, or gap close consistently between multiple targets, you're losing DPS because you have to find the targets. You have to create that space to be able to fire off the gap closer. You're going to lose DPS. At that point, we don't give a shit if you want to use it as a spammable ability. Go for it. Your raid and your group are going to be pissed the hell off, I'll tell you that much. Why did you go back? Alright, this isn't going to go back like that. Alright, since we're on classes, let's talk about Blood Mage next. Blood Mage we just released. A lot of people were real interested in the Blood Mage. So the Blood Mage is a healing DPS. Primarily healing. The first value here is always the primary class. So primarily healing specifically, let's see, Blood Mage is 14 healing, 6 DPS. So they're not doing a tremendous amount of DPS compared to, say, an Assassin at 16, a Gun Priest at 12, Necromancer at 14. I mean, we got some pretty massive DPS out here. They're not doing a tremendous amount of DPS, but they are doing a decent amount of DPS, and this kind of comes into what they're going to be doing. So the Blood Mage has a unique effect about them, where a small percentage of all of the damage that they do is automatically converted over to healing for their group. Now it's not large. It's going to be like 1 or 2%. It's nothing major. But we want them to feel like Blood Mages. We just can't give them the ability to DPS and heal at the same time. And I don't mean at all at the same time. I mean on massive numbers at the same time, because we all know what it's like fighting a DPS healer. It's a pain in the ass. Nobody likes that shit. WoW's done it a million times, and it's annoying as all shit. So we want to stay away from it. So the Blood Mage. The Blood Mage, if Adora was here, she could tell you exactly what she envisioned with the Blood Mage. What Crave and I had envisioned for the Blood Mage was slightly different. Hers came from a book. I'm not too familiar about it. But we wanted to use a Blood Mage as kind of a blood magic type of class, right? In some cases, they're using their own blood. In some cases, they're using the blood of their enemies. So the Blood Mage focuses on the use of blood in order to heal, or in some cases DPS, but mostly for healing. So the first one here is actually a DPS, and it's a channeled effect, Life Burn, where they'll use their own health to deal damage to the target. Yes, you can kill yourself with any of these abilities. We are not putting the baby gloves on for people. People can figure out how to do simple math. If you don't know, err on the side of living. All right. So with momentum abilities channeling, understand they cost a little bit more per hit, per equal amount of damage, but you can channel a channeled ability for your entire momentum. All right. That would require you building up an entire momentum bar and then doing it, which would be at that point the same as using multiple momentum abilities that can't be channeled. So we've already considered it. There's not a massive difference there for breaking anything. So, but Life Burn, the Blood Mage will push their blood into others and deal blood damage. What's up, Flying? I can't read on this screen right now. Flying Banana. Holy crap, that's the name. Bacon. You got extra A's, man. I thought that said Bamama for a second there. Bacon. Don't make Kempo punch you in the dick. All right, so Blood Pool. This one's a fun one. This one's something that Crave really wanted to put in. We had to find a way to make it work, so we gave it a little bit of a restriction. But with most healers, right, you can heal at any time. You don't have to be in the middle of a fight to heal. With a Blood Mage, sometimes it's not necessarily true. The Blood Mage's most effective heals come from the use of blood. So we wanted to give them something that could be used out of combat, right? Let's say your group's grinding this location trying to get this headpiece to drop, and you've been at it for hours, and you just killed a boss, and party members are low on health, and you really need to rest up before the CC pulls another target. But you're a Blood Mage, so you don't have massive direct heals that you can do. You got some direct healing that you can do, but you've also got momentum that's ticking away because you're no longer in combat, and you've got a few corpses around you. So you walk up to a corpse, you use your momentum to channel the corpse. So you can use these corpses to heal your allies. In combat, out of combat, doesn't matter. Utilize your momentum in order to use up a corpse. The corpse itself won't disappear. We don't want to make the loot disappear or go away or anything like that. It'll just be rendered useless after six seconds of channels, so 6 hits, and that's collectively. So if 3 Blood Mages are channeling off 1 corpse, that's only going to have 2 seconds on that son of a bitch. For those that don't remember math, 2 times 3 is 6. Blood Tap, there's an M there. Deals X direct bleed damage to target, healing the Blood Mage and focus target for X% of damage dealt. Now here's the thing about this. Bleed damage is one of them elements where there are certain targets that absolutely resist bleed damage. Okay, skeletons, for instance, don't have blood. What the fuck is bleed damage going to do for them? You can't boil their blood or anything, so it's not exactly doing any hurt on them. Enemies with magic that fuels them, like our Escher, they don't have blood, so bleed damage won't be able to utilize. And this brought up the conversation of future AAs at our meeting as a team, in which the Blood Mage will be able to expand upon that later and eliminate less and less targets from that resistance group. But just know that is restricted to targets that do bleed. Blood Bond removes a percentage of the Blood Mage's health and heals the target for a percent of that value immediately. That's a massive heal. It's going to be a massive heal. It's also, again, can kill the Blood Mage. So players who, sometimes a player might need to sacrifice himself for the tank. In this case, I'll say this, we may need to adjust it. Who knows? Is it worth the death? Sometimes. In this case, if a Blood Mage does not have the health, the percentage, the full percentage there to support that heal, and heal's still going to pop off as a full fucking tick. Because killing yourself to get that heal off of that tank so your raid or your group can survive, considering the death mechanic, is pretty well weighed. It's probably underweighed, honestly, but we're not going to provide other elements just because a Blood Mage actually sacrifices himself. Maybe that's a discussion for AAs down the line, but right now it's not. it's not a discussion to add other elements to it. So. What are we talking? We talking about my beard? Oh, my beard. It's a little long right now. I actually like to get beard cosmetic has been officially added. Yeah. I mean, beard cosmetic was gonna be there. We have fucking dwarves. What kind of shit was that? and women dwarves can have beards. Just saying. So non-momentum abilities. Coagulated blood reduces the health cost of healing abilities by the Blood Mage by a certain percentage. That says for X seconds. I got different shit on my screen than what's up here. Yeah, what the hell? We're on the same website. This is Blood Mage, right? Blood Mage. Blood Mage. Check this out. Non-momentum, 5, coagulated blood. Reduces the health cost of healing abilities. Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot. Fuck off. I might be a little tired. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid. Holy shit. Alright, so that says seconds is going to be minutes. We want that to be something they can buff themselves with. They will have to have it on their bar in order to keep it up there. So it's something to be considered by the Blood Mage. Marked for death. This is a good one. This does require action, and this is one of the few. Direct damage done to the target over the next X seconds returns a percentage of that damage back to the damage dealer as health. This does require action by DPS, and this is one of the few ones that is isolated currently to the DPS. We may expand that. A lot of our abilities like this, they specifically state direct effect abilities. Okay, so AoEs don't count, but any direct effect can be direct damage, damage over time, a delayed dot, as long as it's a single target effect ability. It can be a fucking debuff for all I care. You're going to receive stuff back because not everybody does DPS, so it would be foolish to do that. This one specifically, because of the way it's built, is the only ability we have currently in the game that works the way this one does. So they have a bit of a unique element here. Now that might change if we get into alpha beta testing and people say, look, I need my fucking my CC to be able to heal themselves too. Then they're gonna need to be able to heal themselves too. So, or their tanks. But this Mark for Death was really meant as kind of a melee saver. When you got a lot of AoE going on, you got your 6 or 7 raid healers all doing everything they can. Throw that on the target, get a little bit of healing back. Plus, what the Blood Mage is already doing, Blood Mage might throw some dots out on targets and then do some direct healing of their own. I mean, there's just with the Blood Mage, there's all kinds of different ways they can go about it. So, anybody looking to do just direct healing, play a damn healer, a damn cleric. All right, so. What the hell? What is a woman? Woman is a rare creature that will take your money. I'm just kidding. God. I am not sexist, people. I swear, I don't think I am. If I'm sexist, my mom taught me to be sexist. She the one that raised me. So, if I'm sexist, you can get mad at her. Annanac. All right, God of Water. God of the Seas. We have God of Ice in there, but understand that he is not the God of creating ice. Ice is just 100% water, so he does control the water within the ice. He can't make the ice, but he can take and manipulate ice once it's created. So, yeah, so that's in there. There's not much here. You guys know how I am, man. I love Dr. Lore. I love what his team does. I'm not huge on the lore elements, and it's been a little bit since I've actually looked at Annanac. I will say this: Annanac has a tendency to get pissed the fuck off, so he secludes himself in the oceans. Who knows what the hell he's doing down there? Dr. Lore won't fucking tell us. I don't really know, and I'm not going to step on his shit trying to figure it out. He might be creating insane monsters that can only roam the seas. I don't know what the hell he's doing down there. But one of the other deities interrupted him one time to bitch about something stupid. All right. Yeah. So it was Odros, who's the god of law, interrupted Annanac one time because Annanac's followers saw him as a lawgiver, and it was pissing Odros off, and Odros regretted it. All the gods regretted it, and so the gods have just kind of come to this idea: don't fuck with Annanac when he's secluded. Just wait for him to come out. It's only going to be a couple years, have some patience. It's not that big of a deal. Odros, you still the god of law. Relax, bro. Relax. With his followers, he takes care of them pretty well. So, yeah, I don't think there's not really much to highlight here. I'm not much of a lore guy, honestly. I enjoy watching people RP. I don't myself RP. Hell, I'm an author. I've written 2 novels, halfway through a third, and I really can't stand reading. Like, I'm picky as shit. So I'm probably the worst to be able to do that. But Flying Banana, are you biscuits? Are you really? You're not biscuits. Preview of what? What are we talking about? Shit, Flying Banana is biscuits. Well, I was talking shit about you earlier. Everybody here thinks that you're a loser. I'm just kidding. I was just explaining to everybody how you guys are new to world building, a little inexperienced, working as well as you can, a little stubborn about certain elements Kempo wants you to get into, but you know, stuff like that. Any in-game videos? We are going to pretty up this area, and I'm going to show you guys next podcast. I'm going to show you guys. I might even record a sneak peek and launch it on the YouTube channel. But I'm going to show you guys the server space that we're going to be working in the basic combat build for next week. So that means I'm going to jack biscuits and bacon from what they're doing. Maybe not. I think I already talked to Kempo about that. I think Kempo's gonna go handle it himself, but move over to that area and pretty it up. Like I said, right now the only issue is there are certain elements that are kind of crooked instead of standing up the way that they should be standing up. Limited on world builders, but I will definitely get into that place where what is that? Is that one you built, Bacon? Because that's not an in-game video. That's an old ass video. That world space don't even exist anymore. All right. I don't even know if I'm really in the mood for a Lanham's rant. I mean, I could go off, but I don't know. So, last couple of weeks, well, months, I've been dealing with Steel Deal. Steel Deal here? I don't know if Steel Deal's here. Dealing with my personal assistant. Yeah, we'll probably wind up tearing that video off the website. Is that Steel Deal talking over there? I can't see. There's a name. It is. Steel Deal, are you on a different account? So Steel Deal, for those of you who don't know Steel Deal yet, he is my personal assistant. He's also director of a department that probably don't wind up tearing down because it's kind of not really working out. Word. Well, then why the hell did you link it as an in-game video? What? This is what I'm talking about. Young motherfuckers, man. Young motherfuckers. Anyway. Yeah, well. So, the Steel Deal been working his ass off. He got promoted to my personal assistant. He's been kicking ass, bringing people into the company. But he has one flaw that every one of you young whippersnappers got, all right? And it is overzealous, man. Over hopeful. I think there's a better word for this. The word is naive, okay? At one point in time, Steel Deal said to me, Lanham, these guys are a great opportunity. You won't know until you at least have the conversation with them. And I said to him, that's not how this works, Steel. I got a lot of shit to do. It's not always worth the time to invest time in talking with people who are just going to turn around and walk the other way. And he's recently discovered that this is a truth. He thinks that or originally thought that it was a negative look on things, and he's starting to learn the value of a human being's time, which is important, especially for my personal assistant. But it's been a little exhausting dealing with these younger guys. For those who don't know, I created a book to help. I'm trying. I told you guys from the beginning, the goal is not just to build an MMO, right? The goal is to change the landscape of the entire indie world. And some of it's never going to change, but the majority of it doesn't have to be a giant fucking mess. The majority of the indie world does not have to be this kind of hope-killing dream smasher. There are a lot of great ideas out there, a lot of brilliant people working on some great projects that just never go anywhere because they don't understand the business side of any of it. They think that things just fall into place naturally. They think that you can build a product, never market it, and because it's amazing, people will find out. That's not how things work. It's never going to be how things work. So I created a small little book to help some indie guys. We pass it out to, 20 different companies so far. It's brought in some young guys that want to talk about helping create what I discuss in the book as far as company structure, organization, getting the paperwork set up, getting themselves set in a firm position to move forward, right? After that, making money's up to whether or not you can produce products. So the last couple ones have just been, man, it's been wearing on me. It's an hour, 2 hour long, 3 hour long conversation sometimes with these young kids who have great ideas and a good outlook. I wouldn't call it a great outlook. The outlook's absolutely positive, but that's the problem, is they don't see threats. They don't see the reality of what it is. So it's not a great outlook. It's a good outlook. Happy attitude is not always the best attitude. It's not realistic at all. That's church going, right? Business has nothing to do with church. So in this world where sharks are an actual term, it's a legal term, and people are legally allowed to be sharks, literally eat up all the small guys that don't know any better. And it happens every day. And so what I would like to be able to do is help these younger guys not get eaten up by sharks, not be devoured because they went on good faith promises for service agreements, right? Instead of having an actual agreement, they just wanted to trust each other. Look, that shit don't work. That shit don't fly. That shit will never. Ask anybody who's ever been any legit business owner, and they'll tell you right out the bat, the worst thing you can do is trust that somebody else is going to do what they say they're going to do. That's why contracts exist. It's exactly why there is no other reason why contracts exist except for to make sure that people do what they say they're going to do. So it's been a little bit of a drain. I don't know if I could really do justice for a rant this time around. I've got two good ones for you guys. They're not really gamer related though, so I feel like I kind of half-assed I think the rants are important. I just think this is the wrong place for these particular rants. So I think I'm gonna skip on the rant this time around. Learning curve, absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with needing, right, with that learning curve, with needing those things. It's just about coming together, right, as a collective group. Just because we're indie doesn't mean we have to stay isolated. And I've been trying to explain this to so many younger kids. At this point, it's come down to the point where I told Steele, we no longer talk to anybody who wants to talk about a business partnership or service for service contract or anything like that unless they are a minimum of 25 years of age. And I'm not fucking around on that. I'll talk to an 18-year-old and try to get them in the right direction. More than likely, I'll throw my book at them. and just have them read it. I mean, I made it short. I made it for the quick mind, them 18-year-olds that just want to build the product. They don't want to sit down too long and focus on reading about this shit that they don't fucking understand, even if it'll help them understand it. They just want to get to the point where they're making $1 million. So the book's really, really quick. Really, I wouldn't say really short. I don't know. I think it's like 10,000 words or something. It's not terribly long. It's not insanely short, but it's short enough for people to sit down and try to get some damn knowledge, man. And if I'd have had this kind of information when I first started my first business, I was 28, so I had a lot more conventional wisdom at that point. But there was still a lot of things about the business side that I didn't know, and I still managed to make a highly successful company. So, all right. There are 3 founders to Ferocity Unbound Core Studios. You don't have to purchase it. The book is free for people to have. It's free knowledge for anybody willing to take it. So yeah, so there's 3 founders, myself, Adora, and Crave. They're not here. I'm the CEO, so I kind of help and make sure that all the departments are running. Adora runs, she's our CAD, she runs our art department. She's got a brilliant artistic mind, an excellent artistic eye. Our art department's the smoothest running department out of the entire company. She kicks fucking ass. And then there's Crave, who runs the creative. He's our CCO, Chief Creative Officer, who runs all the design elements. So we designed the entire game, and for the most part, the major elements of all the systems, but all the finite things, right? So we know how crafting works. But what goes into a recipe, the finite elements, the small things, Crave and his team are in charge of creating all of that. And then future content for the most part. The founders are still going to have a massive say in the direction of the game. It's not getting shifted or any crazy thing like that to a bunch of people over there. We are the lead designers, collectively lead designers, and we talk about a lot of shit. Kempo actually, we brought him in as CTO. He's not one of the founders, but he is one of the managers. For those of you who don't understand the difference between a founder and a manager, it's business lingo. It just means somebody who is accountable to make big decisions, to be there to vote on important topics for the direction of the company, for really anything to do about the company. When I talk to a kid and I've got a service proposal lined up, I have to get it cleared through Kempo, Adora, and Crave first before I can do that. It's checks and balances, always checks and balances. Anybody can make a stupid decision. 4 minds working together, 8 minds working together. It's a lot less likely for someone to make a stupid decision. So I run the cat box. I'll link it to you in a minute here. Actually, here, I'll put it in chat. Let me grab it. The book itself is called Building an Indie. I don't have posted on Amazon or anything, nothing hyper official like that. Maybe I will. I don't know. So I'm about to drink Adora's Gatorade. I forgot to bring a drink over here. All right. Yeah, I mean, if you open it up real quick and scroll through, you'll see it's not terribly long. Most people that I've given it to have read it in 2 hours tops. So, but it covers the basic core elements of what it takes to get your business in a position to have a better chance at success. And that's not to say businesses couldn't follow any of these steps at all and still be successful. I mean, there are flukes out there, right? Flappy Birds had no business plan at all. It was just a guy that built a stupid, simple ass fucking game and released it. Minecraft, what was that? 3 guys that built a really stupid, simple ass game and released it. They followed the marketing though, man. I mean, they didn't do a massive marketing, but they marketed the way they were supposed to market. Minecraft sold like 3 million in pre-sales before the game even launched. So, was Minecraft one guy? I thought it was 3. Don't matter. All right. So let's. If you guys got questions for anything, by all means, let me know. Maybe I will do a business rant next time we're around. Who knows? There will be scat. There will be. So the basic combat build. I don't think you were here at the beginning. The basic combat build is the only elements left on that son of a bitch are literally building the classes, the combat elements. All the UI elements are there. Everything else is there. All of the, I mean, you can log in, you can log out, you can close the game down, change some system settings. We've got enough elements there for you to be able to go through and treat it like the basic combat build is almost a phase 1 alpha. Okay, it's only a few elements shy of an actual phase 1 alpha. We want to be able to get that to everybody as soon as possible. It's all about the server. We have a server admin, again, highly inexperienced. He showed talent. I don't know if he lacks talent or if he just lacks experience, but the process is slow getting things set up. We want to use a spatial OS software, getting it attached to our server. I'm not exactly sure what the issue is there. I mean, Kempo's here. You could ask him if he feels like putting that information out there. Then I don't really care. Like I tell everybody, we want to be as open and honest with everything as we can be. So once we have the capability for people to log in, but the capability to log in is not the same thing as the capacity, right? So we just don't have the capacity to house, say, 50 people, 300 people, 3,000 people. So it's about finding a way to deliver it to you without frustrating the fucking piss out of you at the same time. But the basic combat build is the melee DPS and the mage DPS are in the middle of being built right now. I was told that those 2 classes could very easily be done middle of the month. Those being done means that the majority of their code goes right on into the other classes. All they really need to change is the abilities and how they're used. It won't be the prettiest thing in the world, right? It's not going to be perfect animations. It's not going to be perfect weight. It's going to feel really light when you swing at something in this first build. This is a pre-alpha build, basic combat build. So when you guys see this, I hope people are really not expecting AAA, final beta quality elements, or even beta quality elements from what they're going to see. And it is one of the things that has slowed my guys down, is they're trying to create this perfect combat scenario. And I told them, we're trying to showcase, guys. We're not trying to create a perfect, absolutely perfect fucking scenario. We got alpha, we got beta to fine tune all of these elements. We'll do that then. Right now, I just need combat. So, I don't know if that answered your question. I don't know if that was a reasonable answer for your question. Yeah. So, and it's not. I mean, it's not a bad thing, right? It's this mix. We're going to get to that point. There's absolutely no doubt about that. We're working our motherfucking ass off. It's not at the point where I am happy with it enough to show it to people. And when it's at that minimum point where I'm happy enough to show it to people, I'm absolutely going to show it off. But it's got to be at a minimum. It's got to be at a minimum point. And it's not there right now. Like, I would love to be able to walk through the landscape that we do have right now. It's not massive amounts of landscape. It's a fair, I mean, I say small region. I'm saying small comparative to the game size map. It's about, I don't know, 2 or 3 square kilometer space, so it's a fairly good size fucking space. But there are elements to it that just aren't good. I'm not willing to show those elements off because I already know exactly what the criticisms are going to be, and I don't want to hear that kind of shit because we would deserve it at that point. And it's not something that I want to attach to Ferocity or Bound Core Studios so early in the damn game. So pretty much, yeah, we are close. I mean, fuck. I hate keeping telling you guys soon, because I feel like Blizzard, who announces necromancers in their 2016 BlizzCon, but aren't gonna release necromancers in D3 until the end of 2017, after their 2017 BlizzCon. I fucking hate that shit. I mean, oh god, and I don't want to get caught up doing that. I tell Kempo all the time, dude, I can't keep going to these guys saying soon. You just tell me when it's gonna. If I gotta tell them fucking July or August, then I'll tell them August. But just tell me. So, all right. If you got more questions, ask away. I'm gonna do my little bit here. So in closing, I need motherfucking world builders. There are a shitload of talented world builders out there who need portfolio elements, who are in school, who are looking to build something absolutely brilliant. Where the fuck y'all at? That's all I'm saying. Where you at? Because we've got plenty of shit for you to do. We've got 5,000 square kilometers, you heard that right, of space to build. Gorgeous, lush space, multiple different environments, all of these different elements all coming together in order to create this grand world. So where the hell you at? You want to get challenged? You want to build a real resume, some shit you can take to any damn company and throw on a table and demand a paycheck for? You need to come talk to us. Seriously. Where you at? Programmers, C++, C#. I need y'all. Y'all need to get over here, man. Let's go. Stop playing with these shitty companies that are insanely disorganized. Look, I hear the horror stories, okay? I interview more people than we bring into this company, all right? I interview a ton of freaking people. And the number one thing that I hear bitched about is the disorganization of shitty little teams. Why are you guys wasting your times on those projects? Get your ass over here. You can witness the organization in the middle of a damn interview and enjoy. Just for 2 seconds of your life, enjoy that you might actually be a part of a team that's highly organized, well structured, the paperwork's there, the elements are there for you to be successful. We just need you. We need you. Seriously. And I know it's volunteer, all right? I know that irks, but we're hitting a point. We're hitting that precipice where we're going to be able to showcase this game. And profit share ends once funding begins. I'm just saying, if you want to jump in on some profit share on an MMO, and you see the design, all right? You see the game design. This is not a bullshit game. Maybe I'm being highly unhumble about that. I don't really give a fuck. I don't care. Because it speaks for its damn self. You see all that shit. We're not playing. We're building that. You want to be a part of that? Something that's going to dominate the industry for a decade or more? Come on, man. Get your ass over here. Stop playing with them little kids. Stop playing with them disorganized projects. Stop playing with people who are going to treat you like a mule, whip you on the back every 5 seconds talking about why I ain't got this, why I ain't got all this. And it never amounts to shit. Get over here. We take care of you. We'll take good care of you. I need 2D artists, 2D graphic artists. If you know any 2D graphic artists, send them my way. If you are a 2D graphic artist, bring it on. We've got quite a few 3D modelers, so I'm not going to say we need 3D modelers anymore. Server admins. Damn it, do we need server admins? I got to have like 3 of y'all motherfuckers on my shit, man. I need server admin, talented and some experience. Please bring some experience with you. We got one guy I don't know if he's experienced or not. Like I said before, I don't know exactly what his deal is, but he can use some help. There's a lot of work to be done. Clearly, server admins, I mean, I get it. I've talked to several server admins. Most of them hate the damn job. I get it, okay? But there are some that absolutely love their job. And honestly, I think the only real comparison is all them some bitches that get paid like $100 grand or more a year. So I can't, just off the top of my head, I can't think of any server admins that love their job that aren't making more than $100K a year. So maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. I get the server admin job is tedious as all shit. I really do. I need your love. Please, please get on over here. And we do paperwork for everything. So you're never going to get robbed out of shit. Let's see. We got anything else? Yeah, the music done by our music department. I direct it, but they create it. So our music department is absolutely brilliant. I'm telling you guys, we have a brilliant structure going on here. We got a great product. We have excellent organization. We've got everything it takes. We just need the people to help us build this thing. And we create term sheets and documentation to prevent us from being able to drop them people at the point we get funded. So we're not even talking about, oh, we just need to ride the backs of a few people until we get funded and then we can just do whatever the fuck we want. That's not the goal. At Ferocity and Malcore Studios, that's far from the damn goal. The people that help us get there are the people that I want to ride with. Dead weight, I'm gonna lose dead weight. It's just how it is. I'm cutting dead weight every chance I get because it brings down morale in the company. It brings other people down. So if you do come over here, we're not talking about insane hours or anything crazy like that, but we do want to see some productivity, obviously. That's how you build some shit. Anything else, Kempo, you can think of? I can't think of anything else right now. Don't worry, I ignored all of it, Zags, because Bacon was chatting it up with Banana here, who's biscuits. Don't be lied to. That's totally biscuits. And we all know biscuits is a loser. Oh shit. Oh shit. So 100%, and that's 100% additive. Okay, for people wondering, because I know you gaming nerds. Is that multiplicative or is it additive? Is it 200% or does it become 10,000%? He's 10,000%. Get the fuck away from me. Okay, just put it out there. All right. Fuck you guys. I swear to God. NDA, motherfuckers. I'm just saying, that's under NDA. That shit is, don't even fucking do it. It is under NDA, you sacks of shit. Alright. I think that's everything. You know what I do need to add, what I'm going to have to add after this is, I might have it down there, but is a link to our SoundCloud channel where you can go and check out the music that you're hearing in this podcast. I'm not seeing it down there, so I'm assuming it's not there. Yeah, so I need to I need to add in the SoundCloud link for those interested. We do post this on our social media. Right there. Here's the SoundCloud link. If you would like to listen to Sounds from Sacrament. Actually, this one. Yeah, this will work. Let's go. Sacrament soundtrack. Now it's only currently, well, that you can see, it's only got the sound you're hearing in the background right now. It does not have the intro music or anything that's not already tied to the in-game elements of Sacrament. So there are 3 tracks that you hear at the beginning. If you're here for that 10-minute breakdown where we play music, there are 3 tracks in there that are not on the SoundCloud. We will adapt and get those going. I need to take a look at some of the legalities behind that. I might be letting at least one of those go, not because the legal paperwork ain't there, but because I don't know. The member, one of the tracks, the person that made it's no longer a part of the team, and it wasn't for anything negative or anything like that. But he wasn't on the team specifically to create music, and while technically we would own it because it was presented and the legal paperwork states that we would own it, it's not really a need for that. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm a different kind of motherfucker. I know. I get it. All right. So if anybody's got any other questions, hit up the forums, hit up Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Don't do Twitter. I see Twitter now. It comes to my phone now. All right. So Facebook, Twitter, forums. Yeah, that's the best ways to reach out with us. So Biscuits, you also have our Discord. Oh, public Discord for those interested. There's not like a ton going on in the public Discord, but we do have a public Discord, and I'm actually surprised that Steel Deal has not posted it like 50 times. I don't care what's new with Discord. So here is Sacrament public Discord. There is some chitter chatter in there, and from time to time, when I remember, I do jump in there and just kind of hang out for a little bit. I don't know if that's a major selling point or not. I'm not trying to say, come hang out with a great and awesome lay. I'm just throwing it out there. If you're interested in asking questions and whatnot, jump in the public Discord. When I do hang out, I will leave a message in the general channel. General? Maybe? No. Announcements. We'll make it announcements because some people like to mute general. That's where a lot of people talk. So if you mute general, but you do want to hear the announcements when myself or other members of the team do hang out in the voice chat, we'll make a post in the announcement section. Still might not like that. I don't give a shit. So, all right. But if people come in and start asking, then it will be active. Oh, yeah. Okay. Word. I see what you did there. Steel made this thing, man. He's a little ahead of the game. He's preparing for a wave. So breasts are not everything. That's bullshit. All right, I got nothing for that. All right, so down below, you've got... I'm ignoring you bastards because you're distracting as shit right now. We've got a link to our Patreon. If you like what you're seeing in the game, you like the game design, you want to help us build it, but you don't have the talent for any position that we can utilize, but you do have some money you would like to throw our way, you can donate it down at the Patreon below. On the forums, I'm pretty sure there's a link down below as well. On the forums, there is a list of Patreon tiers, so you're not just donating, you're purchasing elements for the game for a future time. Facebook and Twitter pages are also down there. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook to get updates. All major updates do go through those channels, as well as a little bit of shit talking. Sacrament Reddit page is also down there. No one currently monitors it. Every time I bring in social media, guys, it kind of disappeared 2 days later. I don't know if that's something I'm doing wrong or what. I have no fucking clue. I kind of need a social media guy to tell me, so I don't know. Website and forum links are always also down there. part of the forums is it is a small paid forums. $1 will get you access for a month to post wherever you want, except for the manager's area. That's off limits to everybody. $10 will get you lifetime access to post anywhere the fuck you want on the forums, as well as access to the section of the Ferocity Unbound or Sacrament Ordeal, the Supporters Lounge. Yeah, that. I just saw that the other day. So, volunteer forum. If you do have talent and you would like to jump on it, or you got a friend who's got talent, throw him to volunteer for, or her. I don't really care. Or Kitty Cat if she's that chick from wherever. She can code some shit. I don't care what the fuck she feels like she is every day. I don't care if she wants to piss in a litter box. If she can code while she's pissing, bring your ass on down. Anyway, volunteer forum. Links down at the bottom, and then the Sacrament Roundup. I think it's on hold. Maybe, I don't really know. There's not much to the Sacrament Roundup right now because there's really not much news, not much information as far as Sacrament going on. We might turn it into the Ferocity Roundup, actually. Oh no, it is the Roundup now. Sorry, I forgot about that. It's just the Roundup now. So it might become all around Ferocity Unbound Core Studio news itself. So, yeah, lots of good shit coming. I think you guys are gonna enjoy these two smaller games we're creating. If you do like reading, you will definitely enjoy the novel, and it does support Sacrament. So jump on over to it. I'll actually hold on. I'll tell you what. I'll send the link out. Social media sites. So pay attention to social media sites for that, because it did just get approved, and you can pre-order the novel now. I think that's it. Yeah, I think it's all I've got for you right now. I think Steel Deal left, because I feel like he just said a lot of shit by now. Oh, he did. He said public Discord with an exclamation point. Steel, you are real quiet right now. He does not like, we haven't told anybody, Steel, but he did not like the name, the the project code name for the game we're building. So as long as they're 25 and plus, I approve. All right. I give Steel so much shit. All the managers give Steel a ton of shit. When he retires, that motherfucker's getting like 6 golden watches, because he deals with a lot of